Hi, it's Todd from Todd's Workshop and Todd Cutler here, and today's book is The Book of the Crossbow by Ralph Payne Galway. Sir Ralph Payne Galway. Fantastic. Absolute must-have if you're interested in crossbows of the medieval period. And it's an old book now. It's printed in 1903, so copyright's gone, which means that you can get copies really cheaply, which are just knocked out by the print-on-demand services. So it's not expensive either. And it's great. But, and we're going to come to the but. And what it does is it gives you a little bit of history of the crossbows themselves, where they sat in the world, sort of when they originated, where they went through to, when they were used for hunting, when they were used for war, and so on. So it gives you a really nice background. And it's got original illustrations from Froissart's Chronicles and things like that, so you can see the bows being used in context. Fantastic array, actually, of stone bows being used. He obviously had a particular interest in them, and I do as well. I've got one here. Now, stone bows are obviously a thing very fashionable in the 15th, 16th century, and he's got lots of pictures of those in use. But then what he does as well is he, I'll go back a little bit. He spent maybe 3, 4, 5 years around about the turn of the century being incredibly interested in crossbows and siege weapons and stuff that shoots that's not guns. And he obviously had some money, had a bit of an estate, and it's got lots of pictures in of, here is a catapult that I built. Well, I'd warrant that he didn't actually build it, but somebody on his estate did. And so he's got lots of pictures of catapults and trebuchets and mangonels and all sorts of stuff. But also he catalogued loads of crossbows. He's also very handily done drawings. It's all in imperial, obviously, but you'll have, for instance, just a random set of drawings like these ones here, but he will give you all of the dimensions of the parts on them. Not a full engineering breakdown, but enough that if you've got a little bit of savvy, you'll be able to make the components. He also listed out things like this page here. So you have all the trigger systems of this particular bow and the components of them. So again, it gives you, if you've got the savvy, if you've got the understanding, enough knowledge that you can work your way through the systems and work out how they work. It's got overall sizes, overall dimensions. So as a primer to making crossbows, absolutely invaluable. And in fact, that's where I began. So I wanted to make a crossbow. I found this book going for £5 or something like that. Great, I bought it. And there's enough information, if you're good in a workshop, to make a good crossbow. However, when it comes to the subject of crossbows, what I always say is I made the mistake of looking at this and going, well, it's a really simple mechanism. It's a simple object. It's simple to make. Well, they're not. They're really not. They're far more complicated than you think they are. And Ralph Payne Galway does not go into the finer points of them. So it's a good primer, but you will still be standing there scratching your head going, why doesn't it work? I've done exactly what he said that I should do. But it does explain how to make strings. It explains how to make goat's foot levers, cranaquins. So if you want all the dimensions of the components for a cranaquin, they're all in here. It's just a brilliant book. But it is also a book of the time. And there was a fantastic Renaissance, energetic search for knowledge on the medieval and Renaissance period in the mid to late 1800s. And you get people with their grand moustaches and their big top hats and everything else needing to be important and needing to be the expert on things. And if they didn't know something, they weren't shy of making it up. And Payne Galway falls into exactly that category. So this is a very good example here, that we look at this page here, and he shows all the different kinds of bolts that are available for crossbows. Well, most of those I have never seen. They're just fanciful. And in fact, that fancifulness even starts on the back page here. I was just looking at a bit where it says, the crossbow fired a 12-inch bolt, quarrel, capable of piercing all but the strongest armour. So the first thing is, Payne Galway is absolutely adamant. This is fact. So I'm reading this, and crossbow bolts were 12 inches long. Well, they weren't always 12 inches long, and I'd argue that's actually quite short anyway for a crossbow bolt. But he says it like it is true, and there is no argument. And the other is it's piercing all but the strongest armour. Well, we also know that that's not the case as well. But nonetheless, written on the back of this book are these facts. And then you come to things like the siege engines and siege weapons. Now, what disappoints me slightly is he will look at something like this catapult here, and rather than just dismissing it out of hand in the sense of it's slightly fanciful but it's a nice pseudo recreation of what a catapult was, he gives a formal criticism of it. Well, it doesn't warrant a formal criticism because it's clearly just an artist's impression. We just know more now, I suppose. But in essence, it's a brilliant book. It's the foundation of all of my crossbow knowledge and where everything that I've learned has come from about making the things, and it's where I began. Is it all true? No. Can you believe all of it? Absolutely not. Have you got to tread with care when you're using this book? Yes. Does it give you step-by-step plans? No, it doesn't, but it gives you a really good foundation. So if you're handy in a workshop or you're interested in crossbows, go for it. It's great. It really is. But with care. Hope you enjoyed it. See you again.